Hey guys, so welcome back to another video. And recently I've been doing a lot of videos about my XJ, or about XJs in general, but I never really showed off my personal XJ. I mean, you guys seen it, but you guys don't know everything about it. Yeah, I bought this for $3,000 back in 2018. It had faded bumpers, completely stock. I'll throw a picture up right here. That's what it used to look like. It didn't change a whole lot other than some appearance things. And I got it, well, first my dad owned it for about 6 months because we used to have a JK, but it got rear-ended and totaled it out. And we needed something that he could work out of. He's a farrier and he needed to use the back. And he needed something that was reliable and get him point A to point B for cheap, for a couple grand. And a couple months later, I got my license and my dad said, do you want it? You can just pay what I paid for it. And I paid $3,000 and I got a bone stock Jeep. Then comes Christmas, and I actually got these headlights for a Christmas gift from Truck Light. And they look amazing on the Jeep, especially when it was stock, because I needed decent headlights since I was driving at night a lot to get to school. And these lights are amazing. I like them. They're easy to install. Actually, that was the first video I did on the Jeep. And then 6 months rolls by and I get my first $300 after working. And I got a rough country lift kit. And I like to brag, it's a cheap lift kit. $300 at a leaf. It works perfectly fine. It's nothing fancy. I mean, it rides like shit. It drives okay, actually. It actually handles really well for a Jeep. But that might be part of why it's so stiff. I don't know. Hopefully here soon I do want to change it to get something a little bit better. But you know, I don't have any complaints for a $300 lift. So yeah, the first thing I did, I got these Toyo tires, and I was still on stock wheels, and I spent like $900 all around for 31s, I think these were, and they look pretty good, I think. And more important than looks, it's been handling so well, and like any terrain I throw at it, they are good. The only thing that does suck is that they do have some road noise after like 30,000 miles on them. But it's an all-terrain tire, so I can't really complain about that. If I wanted to be quiet, I'll just get highway tires. And then the next thing I did, next Christmas comes around, my dad's like, you get a light bar. And I was like, alright, yeah. I mean, I was so debating if I wanted a light bar, because I didn't really, since this is kind of a special edition Jeep, I did not want to drill anything in here. But what we did, we just did some self-tappers, just because I did want to be able to remove at least one of these brackets to replace the windshield, just to make it easier on the windshield guys. So that's why it is held on with self-tappers and not rivets. Otherwise it's alright. Right now it's not hooked up because it was connected to my CB, and my CB is not hooked up because it was screwing up with my door locks. So that was fun, figuring that out. But yeah, it's been a great Amazon light bar. Cheap, fun, it works, it gets the job done. But then a couple months later, I wanted to help let somebody heat out the hood. So what I did is I ordered these Amazon aluminum louvers. They're called rod louvers. And I think I paid $20 or $30 for the whole set last year. And then I just got one of those circle saws and I cut underneath the hood, which I'll show you when I start talking about the stuff I've done underneath the hood. But yeah, and I actually noticed a big improvement with these. I actually wished I would have got bigger ones to let out more heat. But I didn't like the ones that are coming at an angle like that. I don't know, they look kind of goofy in my opinion, and I just didn't like it. So I just went with these little ones. And I think it gives the Jeep a little bit of a rugged look too. It kind of reminds you of the IROC hood in a way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, they're functional. I rattle canned them black, and they turned out really good. Other than now, they have a few chips in them. then another couple months comes rolling by, and I want to get rid of these faded fenders. And I tried painting them. That was an absolute fail. The paint just did not stick. It just did not turn out well. So I just went and spent the $200 and got all new fender flares. And I wish they still had like the texture like this. I couldn't find any that had the factory texture. So I had to deal with these smooth ones that were meant to be painted, but you know, I can't complain too much. For $200, and I only found on one website that was $200 for the whole set and not like $400 or $500. I think they made the Jeep look 10 times better than the milky white fender flares. And then I got these wheels. And I know you're supposed to do your wheels and tires at the same time, but I painted my other wheels gunmetal gray, and that did not go out well. The wheels just did not look good. It just looked cheap. So I ordered these Quadro Track, I think is what they're called. I don't know. It cost me $500 for a set, and I figured these would be good for temporary. Because in the future, I do want to go with some either Method or Black Rhino wheels, but I want to get some other stuff figured out before I do that. But they've actually been really good wheels. They're actually a lot lighter than my factory 16s. Even though these are 16s too. And they look pretty good, I think, in my opinion. And then my buddy's Outback. That same Outback that was in the video that we put in the ditch out here. And we got out somehow. This is his roof rack. I paid $75 for it. And then I made him buy me lunch too. So it really cost me less than that. So yeah, it's been a decent roof rack. He was having issues of it vibrating, but it might be the everything else on the Jeep making the noise that I don't hear it. But all it does is suck down my miles per gallon, which I don't want to talk about that. $5 a gallon bullshit. And the last thing on the exterior I did was some ZJ calipers with power stop rotors and pads, and they've been holding up pretty well. Yeah, I practically did all the braking's new on it. Like everything for the braking is new. And one thing I do regret is not getting the ZJ rotors in the rear, because I thought it'd be kind of cool to have rear discs. But again, drums are just fine. It's one of those things where with drum brakes you do them like once every 100,000 miles, and this thing isn't like a performance beast or anything. I mean, it's still almost practically, it is a stock 4.0, so I don't really need aggressive brakes. Really, that is all that has been done to my exterior, so not too much, some basic stuff here and there. So time to go underneath the hood, and I'll show you guys what I've done under there. Alright, so this is my engine bay. Yeah, it's stock. I haven't done like a cold air intake, because I thought that honestly a cold air intake and had the exposed filter and all that would just suck in more dirt. So I thought this would be a little bit more protective of dirt and stuff. But underneath the hood I have a Brakes Best booster and a Brakes Best master cylinder, and I done that just because my booster went out and I wanted something that was better, because my other ones sucked and made my wheels shake. And also what I done was a brand new head, just like every 4.0 needs apparently, because mine was leaking oil in between the head and the block and making a mess on my driveway. But then I fixed that, then my rear main seal went out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna really deal with that, because the engine has 250,000 miles. You just need to know when to stop and just let things be. I mean, I'll still take care of it, duh, but you know, at this point, for what I've thrown into this engine, I could have bought a brand new crate engine. So I think that's where it's time to stop, so when the engine does poop itself, I can just buy a brand new short block and call it good. And those are the vents that I've been showing you. And the reason why I left the centerpiece, don't mind that one's chewed up, but the reason why I left the centerpiece is to have a little bit more rigidity so the hood isn't all flimsy and stuff. I've seen that a lot on forums and videos where the hood looks really bad, but you can kind of tell that's still a little flimsier. Here, I'll show you in a guy's sec. But you can still see, kind of, not really on camera, that's bowed in a little bit here and there. And it would have been much worse if I didn't just leave that centerpiece. I guess I could have done smaller holes, but you know, they're already working like a charm, so I ain't gonna mess with it. And that's really it for the engine bay. I don't have much going in there. Now, lastly is the interior, which I think looks pretty damn good for having 220,000 miles. Really, the only thing that's wrong is a few tears on the seat, which is just normal wear and tear. But the door panels are still nice. They're a little dirty now because I'm in the middle of a four-wheeling trip. But first thing I did was I got this dash mat because it was sitting outside and I didn't want my dash to get more warped and brittle as it is already. And that's kind of what I did, and just left it like that for 6 months. That's all I done. But then I was like, you know what, a few weeks ago, or a month ago probably now, I decided it's about time to do some interior upgrades just to make it nicer. So I did all LED lights, and you can see the video that I posted. These are all recent things. Then with that, I actually got some WeatherTech floor mats, which are working fantastically. I'll show you guys in the back. I think they look great, especially in the rear. The rear, they fit so nice in the rear. But the only complaint I do have with them is the fronts. See, sorry for the straw wrappers, but the fronts, it doesn't fit the way I want it to. I can't get it to fit the way I want it to, no matter how much I maneuver it. It's almost like I need a piece of Velcro to hold that right there. But hopefully it lays out in the sun for a while and it'll be good. And I guess you can call this a mod, but yeah, here's my CB, just self-tapped onto the transmission tunnel right here. And that's really all that's been done, other than 2 new 6.5-inch Kenwood speakers. But yeah, that's really it. Now, I know that it isn't the most crazy modified thing. If you want to call it stock, go ahead. It's pretty much there. But I feel like wheels, suspension, and tires do count as lightly modified. So I wouldn't really call it a build. It might be a build. I don't know. That's kind of like a debate, and